Sergio Studios. Extra. Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Sergio Dominguez with another animation look through, and this one is episode 141 of The Sergio Show. So, let's get started. So, this is episode 141, like I said before, and this episode is a special 10-year anniversary Meet Remastered special edition of the first episode of The Sergio Show. So, when I was making it, I'm like, okay, it's the 10th anniversary of the show. Let me do like a remake of the first episode. You know, I've learned since then, and I have some better techniques, and I want it to be hand-drawn animated. So you see the puppet animation, but then we cut to hand-drawn animated me. Now, I've mentioned this before in commentaries, and maybe I think I did a couple of videos talking about it, but the method that I use for this form of hand-drawn animation for this episode is that I just drew in my sketchbook in pencil, then outline it in marker, and I scan into Toon Boom, and I bring it and I line the drawings the way that I align them to give it this look. So yeah, this was drawn on a sketchbook in ink and scanned in. So that's why it kind of looks off, because it goes from this to this. And then when I scrub through, it looks like that. So I drew this, then I drew this, and then this. I did try to do some shortcuts and cheats. I just copied this drawing and paste this, and then I selected it, and then I smoothed it out to give it a little bit of a slight altered look, so I don't have to redraw it. Hello and welcome to the Sergio Show. I'm your host, Sergio Dominguez. And you can tell that I drew it on a sketchbook and just brought it in, because there are some mistakes animation wise, and obviously the big mistake is how it doesn't line up properly. It pops into each frame very oddly. Like, let me see if I can do this. Onion skin. Previous drawings. There, you see? It shows the outline and silhouette of the previous drawings and how different it was from each other, and how it has like a pop, and each frame it's altered by a lot, as if I wasn't paying attention to the previous drawing, because I wasn't. I was like laying down flat, and if it was too off, I would try to edit it in Toon Boom by erasing, resizing, any of those kinds of things. So that was the method I was also trying to do to make this kind of animation work, because at the time I didn't have a Cintiq still until a couple of years later. So this was the best. And also a couple of shots here I did with the Wacom bamboo tablet that I still had. But you know, I still want to show that I can kind of do this, but not the best. But I tried. And also later on, I'm going to tell you the kinds of problems I was going through with this episode. So you see I had to rely on solid poses because the animation wasn't going to be fluid, because of a technical reason and, you know, drawing reason. I can only make so many drawings. I had a deadline. I had to do this quick because I wanted to. So that's why there's some shortcuts. This one drawn in the tablet. I didn't want to animate anything sinister when I got to the Do You Know Who I Am? So that's why I was like, let me zoom in, rely a little bit of puppet rigging like here, like, how dare you question me? Do you know who I am? So I did get away with it, but it comes out looking funnier than usual. So, like I said, it couldn't be as smooth, so I have to rely on really good poses, and if it had to stay still for a certain amount of time like this, then I would have to be sure it's funny enough and good enough and expressive. And even there's still some details and mistakes I left in, like these kinds of outlines and shapes, and how the outlines are very uneven, like it was drawn on marker, which it was, mostly. And sometimes I would still use the original mouth drawing set for a lot of the shots. But like I said, I try to still make it entertaining. and expressive, and it looks like I did these in between frames. And I would still want to make it a little bit more animated by taking that layer, giving it a peg, rigging it, and having it give more movement, like right here, and also resizing it if it comes off a little bit too out of shape between poses. Whoop. That was a mouth, but there's some parts where I didn't use the keyframe, but that's how it is. And I would reuse frames too of poses like that. You know? the same kind of pose but drawn differently. And another thing you can notice is the outline, how thick it just got. Probably because at the time, I think when I made this drawing, it was with not only a thicker marker, but I think I was drawing it really small in the sketchbook. So when I scanned it in and put it in, it was just so much thicker. And I couldn't really change it because when I scan it in, the vector graphic becomes like a brush tool, which is impossible to really change or resize unless I convert the lines to extract center line, but it still wouldn't come off looking good and looking really bad. So let me see. Yeah, you see? Like that. Like, how can I thin out these lines like that? Like here's some movement. He's staying still, but I add a little bit of peg movement animation to give it a little bit more expressive. But you know, I cut to still myself. How many frames was that? Oh, one. Boom, 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 boom. Again, that method of like giving it the boil look. When I got to here, yeah. Copy and paste and boil. Copy and paste and boil it. And moving it around. There we go. And going to, yeah, let's get this started. Now this part I include a lot of expressiveness, like, Obviously a big improvement from the first episode, but, you know, still left room for more improvement. I like this one. Yeah. I want to keep this in frame. Obviously, realistically, this would be off camera. But I was like, I want to keep that. So I'm going to have to just shrink this down to fit the shot. Because I'm not going to move the camera back for that. So yeah, it's the character like stretches and a lot more expressive, but I still want to keep them in frame. Now we're going to run across the problem I'm talking about. Here we go. Help. It's the next shot. There we go. Now, when I got to this part of the episode, I was like, something's gone technically wrong. Like, I can't really edit the frames. When I scrub through, you know how smoothly it goes from left to right? There's a point where it was just like not go smoothly, like, while I'm trying to move this like this, like this. This would go, And I realized there's too many drawings, too many data, and too many things going on with this within this specific project. So what I had to do was save as a different copy, take the new copy that I saved as to, delete the previous scenes, delete drawings, empty it out, and then start over again, but with picking up where I left off. So ultimately, this is where the episode stops here in production. And even though I have a lot to go, you know, animation-wise, there's a lot of shots here. But this is where I just saved a different copy and go to the next copy that I saved as. And we are picking up where I left off with the next scene. So here we go. You see how it starts here, even though it's early on in the episode? Because this is the saved copy, part 2. And I took out the previous scenes and just pick up the drawing where I left off and just keep animating. Because it can only handle so many frames. So that was the production that I realized I had to change and fix. So yeah, this whole like it was an 8-minute episode. It took a lot of different separate shots and scenes and stuff. Oh, my best friend Juan. When I said best friend Juan, I wanted it to be boing boing boing, you know, and I had to just repeat one bounce, boing boing boing. Now, this is me finishing that phone call because the phone call scene, I said in the commentary, I animated them both separately, and then using effects, I composed them in with a background and all that stuff. So that's why it looks like how it looks. I already explained that. I don't really need to show you it because that's also just separate animation files. One project has me talking, one project has Juan talking. I just put them together. Now this is me about to draw. I like this part. All right, this is the part where the animations got technically screwy, so I went to the next scene. So, now we're getting to this like funny scene of me saying, "Oh, I'm going to draw something, but let me just summon the powers." And here, like limited animation, I'm just moving this. This was drawn on the tablet, this one on marker. But it still worked and it's really nice. I wanted to give it a little bit more movement, so I used a transform tool, give that bounce like boink, boink, boink. So there's some nice subtle movements. And some nice smear drawings too. There's a lot of smear drawings in this one. But it came out really good and gives it a little bit of a wacky feel to it. Then another animation, me pointing my finger up. Yeah, it's been about 4 years since I've made this episode, so again, looking back at memories. Now we're on to one of my favorite pieces of animation, where I walk. Haven't really done anything like that before, but it came out really well. This is two different layers of drawings. This is me just like going left and right, moving my shoulders, and this one's just trying to walk front because drawing an animation of walking forward is tough because of the perspective of the feet and the shoes and how it looks. So this is the best I can do, and I cycled it, but it came out looking really nice. It has a nice spring to it, a nice spry energy. A little clunky, but it still has some personality to it. Very funny bounce too. You know, this is a base here, so the character jumps off of it a little bit. Boom. Have a nice view here. Yeah. Oh, this is the green screen version of it. The reason why is, if you noticed, you know, for a camera effect or perspective effect, when the character is walking closer to us, the background is far away. And when the background is far away, the background would get blurry. And for that to work for this shot, I had to do it as a special effect. So there was some effects work that had to be done. So there's a version of this right here where it's all green screen for this to work. And here is the same thing, but the background, background plate, really. So this would later on be exported in and given the blur treatment of it fading into blurry as it goes on. But you've seen it. You know what I'm talking about. Now I want to talk about this piece of animation. So after the monologue about me, I keep going with the monologue and talk about this extra thing that I wrote about passion and me loving to make videos and cartoons. So I was like, let me just have the background just go away and me zooming out, and then we cut to this little animation sequence. This animation sequence, I want it to look special but easy to make. So what I did was, I took my sketchbook, took this like crayon marker, and just drew this and cycled it. Like I drew this in crayon marker, then I took this and I think I drew it 3 times. Yep, and I cycled it. Same thing with this. Drew this and this and this. Yeah, this one I think I just copy and paste and just shaped it a little bit and cycled it. This one I redrew a couple times and cycled it. And yeah, that's what I kind of do. But instead of the marker thing, I just use this crayon marker. That's why it has it was in black, but then when I scanned it in, I reversed the color to white. So that's why it has this like chalkboard look. But it came out good, like oof, poof. Very simple, but it still has some nice creativity to it. Beautiful. That's supposed to be a film reel, film strip. So there you go, that one. I remember in production, I was like, oh, I gotta add an extra line for what I just did. So I was like, oh, you know, that just happened. But I like this one. Like, But I also covered that on because I didn't want to animate the mouth. And this last animated shot, there was some reused drawings. This wasn't filled in properly. Oh well, it happened. There was some frames that weren't filled in properly. But this is just me signing off and using some reused poses, but some also extra ones. Like there's a nice wink. Let me see if I can find that wink. Yep, there it is. With that wink, I just took the head, copy and paste it a couple times, and add the eyelids. You know, very simple method like that for a show that's supposed to have improved since 10 years. And it kind of did, but it left room for more. And you know what? That's all for this animation look through episode 141 of The Sergio Show. Oh, it's been about 4 years since this episode came out. And it's still great. You can see the improvements and the changes I've done within 10 years from the first one to 141. And it still leaves more improvement, but it's still very enjoyable to watch, and the changes I've made, but still very entertaining, and still has the spirit of what makes, hopefully, the show fun, I guess. And I hope you enjoyed it too. Again, thank you very much for watching. Questions, comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow me on my other social medias. As always, I am Sergio Dominguez saying, have an animated day.